Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Suparna. I'm an instructional designer at University Online Education Services at Rutgers University. On behalf of the 2025 Rutgers University Online Learning Conference, I'd like to welcome Dr. Rahul Mittal. Dr. Mittal is a faculty at the School of Health Professionals, and we are very pleased to have him share some strategies that he would like to talk about in terms of how to teach prompt engineering to health information management students. During the presentation, you can use the live chat session, and you can also post any questions, and Dr. Mittal will answer them if he can as we go along, or at the end of it as time permits. Over to you.
Thank you, everyone, for having me at this conference, and thank you, Suparna, for giving my introduction. So, hi, everyone. So, as Suparna said, I am an assistant professor in the health informatics department, but I also teach on the health information management course. So, just to give a background, and I know everyone must have heard this throughout the day, but there's an increasing adoption of AI in healthcare, which is transforming various aspects, especially in health information management, from automating documentation to coding to decision making and data retrieval, and the use of large language models or Gen AI is becoming integral to HMI workflows. However, to fully leverage AI capabilities, one of our goals was to try and introduce the use of prompt engineering and large language techniques to our students. So this session will just introduce you to some of the methodology we employed and the thinking behind slowly introducing prompt engineering to our students. Okay, so let's begin. So as I've explained, that AI is becoming quite integral in all the healthcare courses, and to fully harness this, we need to understand how to interact with it effectively. This is where prompt engineering comes in. And by structuring our interactions with AI properly, we can ensure it provides us with accurate, relevant, and useful responses. So prompt engineering is both an art and a science. It involves crafting clear, precise instructions to direct an AI model towards producing the most useful output. In this slide, I've just given you just 4 of the kind of basics of prompt engineering, but it's important to remember that AI is only good as the instructions it receives. A vague or poorly worded prompt can lead to misleading or incomplete information. By learning prompt engineering techniques, HMI professionals can optimize their interactions with AI and enhance their efficiency in handling health information. And especially our students are working full time on our courses, and it's an asynchronous course. So it's really important that we try to kind of teach them prompt engineering from a distance. Okay, so the next slide. Sorry about this. So as I've explained, health information management involves handling large amounts of structured and unstructured data. So ensuring compliance with regulations and supporting clinical and administrative workflows. So AI can assist with these processes by extracting key insights from medical records, automating data entry, and providing decision support. But a poorly framed query can lead to problems with regards to HIPAA compliance, which might return generic responses, where a well-crafted prompt could generate a clear, actionable summary. And prompt engineering, teaching that to the students, will help them when they go out in their jobs or on the future roles, reduce administrative burdens and improve patient data management. So the things which I've been trying to teach my students is when they're using large language models in the course, I'm trying to encourage them to use specific keywords related to HIM and to avoid ambiguity, and also providing constraints. If the prompt is too broad, the AI may return unfocused or irrelevant information. Conversely, over restrictive prompts might limit the AI ability to provide a comprehensive insight. So good prompt engineering involves striking the right balance by using clear instructions, relevant context, and specific constraints. So, for instance, rather than asking the AI to explain ICD coding, a better prompt would be summarize the key difference between ICD 10 and, let's say, ICD 9 in 100 words. Focus on coding for chronic diseases. So by teaching our students to the basics around these effective prompts, will ensure that the AI generated responses align with the user's needs. So these are some examples of good and bad prompts. So I've just explained. So tell me about HIM. The better would be how is AI improving medical coding processes in HIM, and the best would be summarize 3 ways AI enhances medical coding accuracy in HIM with examples. So one of the things that we've been trying to do is how the prompt engineering can be applied to all these different areas on the course. And what we've been trying to do is slowly over time, since the introduction of the large language models, starting with ChatGPT, is applying them to various elements of the course. So starting with automated transcription and summarization, enhancing electronic health record usability, AI-assisted medical coding and billing, and querying databases for patient insight. One of the other ones which I've been using on one of my courses is conducting efficient literature searcher for academic writing. So using prompt engineering, so you can use as an assistant for gathering academic resources. You can use it for an example of a research-based prompt, or refining prompts for more precise results, and evaluating AI-generated literature summaries for accuracy and bias. So we've been trying to create hands-on exercises for the students. So one of the ones is getting the students to craft prompts for common HIM tasks. In a minute, when I go through, I will share one of my Canvas courses where I'll go through some of the examples that I've been using. Activity 2 is students to create prompts to generate summaries of HIM related journal articles. And one of the examples I gave was the ICD-10 codes, and we're also trying to peer review an AI-generated output analysis as well. So one of the common issues we have, so on my research methods course, um, I'm trying to get the students to write a mini literature review. So bearing in mind, as I explained, these students are asynchronous and working full time. One of the issues we've had previously is students um, kind of engaging on how to, you know, do a research project as part of their role, how to do an audit, and how to structure a research problem. So one of the things that we've been trying to do is trying to highlight some of the gaps. So, for example, so the students were finding in difficulty in identifying credible and high quality research articles. They were over reliance on Google searches instead of academic databases like PubMed, Scopus. They were summarizing and struggling to summarize key findings from multiple papers cohesively, tendency to list studies separately rather than synthesize common themes and gaps. There was difficulty in organizing content logically, chronologically, and applying a methodological structure. They were also finding it difficult to identify gaps in research. So they were overlooking gaps or failing to critically evaluate what is missing in the literature. And there was a lot of paraphrase and risk of plagiarism as well. So, and sometimes some of the students were using overly complex language or informal light writing styles. And there was also errors in formatting citations. So how LLMs can assist in writing a mini literature review is they can generate queries for the databases like PubMed. They can use the AI tools to summarize key findings and extract key points and methodologies and help with structuring the review, and also provide a scaffold uh, to help the students to, especially ones who haven't had previous research experience. This gave us a unique opportunity to help scaffold out a mini literature review with them and also help them identify the research question and showcase some of the gaps. It also helped them enhance their academic writing and gave them confidence in managing their citation and referencing. And the important thing is, throughout the whole process, instead of just getting the students to use the large language model, we also introduce stress testing of the output, especially focusing around the evaluating the AI responses for reliability. So any output they were getting, we were encouraging them to check to see if the output produced by the AI model actually existed, if they actually found it useful in using it to create their mini literature review. It also helped them identify and look for inconsistencies and biases. And what we did this year is not just focus on one large language model. We focused on Claude AI, Gemini, and ChatGPT. And we ensured that all the students were using the free version. And at the same time, we were trying to engage with them in how to adjust their prompts to improve uh, quality of the outputs. So let's look at the course. I'm just going to move to another screen. So hopefully everyone can see my Canvas course. So what I've done, I've just copied the elements from my research methods course. And what we did this first of all is I worked with the library staff, and we tried to teach the students the importance of how to reference um, chat GPT or large language models outputs. So this is an example of a chat GPT assignment where I was going through how to use chat GPT and Gemini and Claude. We then asked them to use the large language model to write different paragraphs using the large language with a book reference, with a journal reference, and a paragraph with a website reference. At the same time, we wanted them to verify the references, so we got them to log into to the Rutgers Library website and to take a screenshot of the verification and paste it into the provided template. So this is the element where I said we were stress testing and encouraging students not just to get the output, but to actually look at it and see if it was actually a real output and to critique it. And that was a very fundamental part of the course where we were encouraging them to do this, not just with one large language model, but using Gemini and Claude as well. So the other thing was we then asked them to use the large language model to help them generate a research question. So in this case, we gave them some basic instructions on prompt engineering on how to generate research questions. We gave them a topic on the use of large language models in health information management and use a topic in that area. And what we did was we gave them an example of a simple prompt, and we encouraged them through a live lecture to build on this prompt and create and three research questions. And what we did was we got them to produce research questions from Claude, Gemini, and ChatGPT. And again, we asked them to contrast and compare and see what the differences were, why they were different, and explain to us why they were choosing the research question. So we encourage them at all times to look at the outputs and ensure it met their research criteria. We also encourage them to summarize articles to help them, go through the literature they were searching. So at the same time, we made sure that they were working with the library staff to find articles relevant to their research question. And then we were teaching how to summarize them and extract information that was relevant to their research question. And one of the feedbacks that we had previously from the course, that some of our students were struggling with how to write an academic literature review. And so what we did as part of their course is we asked them to craft a prompt to use either one of the large language models to create an introduction. But what we did was we wanted them to then write it, had a reference point to then write their own introduction. And at the same time, they had to upload the outputs. So we had full sight of what they had used as their kind of scaffold. And this, from the feedback we from the students from last year, we got very encouraging feedback, especially for students whose English, it wasn't their first language. We also asked them to use the large language to create a research proposal and an outline of what the rest of the mini literature review would include. This then gave them a breakdown of what each paragraph could include. But as I mentioned previously, part of the marks was they had to upload their outputs at all times. And there was also marks for stress testing each of the output. So it was almost like a learning diary journey throughout for the students. Can I just go back? So at the end, they were able to produce a literature review. And if I go back to my slides, sorry about this. Can everyone see this? Suparna, is it there?
Yes, I can see it.
Yeah, fine. So this is something that I've kind of been working on. So as you can see, since the introduction of large language models in kind of 2022, this is the kind of the grades that the students have been getting since I've been running this course. And slowly every year, we've been building the use of large language models every year. So since 2022, I have, in a step by step, increased the kind of the prompt, teaching the students different prompts from basic to intermediate to help them produce a literature review. So we haven't just stopped there. So what we've done now is, even for when they're writing a CV, we're encouraging them to take a job advert that they're applying for and to put their CV, which we've helped them refine, to tailor it to highlight relevant skills and experience, and use it to apply for future jobs. And part of our next steps, which is what we're working uh, with Rick, who I think hasn't been able to make it to today, is to now create modules on prompt engineering for the HIM students, looking at data and analysis, and further expanding the use of analyzing and information extractions. And this is further around leveraging AI for coding, compliance, and research. And we're hoping that for one of our other modules, we'll be asking the students to sit or finish a small module on prompt engineering and use that independently to analyze a set data set that we will provide them. And at the same time, we will make sure that they are stress testing the outputs and understanding and critically evaluating the output at all times. So it's also important to understand that there are challenges and consideration, especially about biases in AI generated response, and teaching our students about data security and compliance, and the need at all times for human oversight in AI driven decision making, and the limitations of AI in academic research and clinical documentation. And the future of prompt engineering in HIM is very exciting. AI technologies are evolving rapidly, and HIM professionals and students, which we have to teach, must stay ahead of the curve. Future developments include more advanced natural language processing models with agentic AI on the horizon this year, with better AI human collaboration, increased AI integration in health data management. So, by encouraging our students to understand prompt engineering and applying it to our courses, HIM faculty can help share and shape the responsible and effective use of AI on in HIM. So yeah, so I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mittal. I also want to let folks know that we will be uploading a copy of the presentation to the resources section. And it's right below the replay, so everybody has access to it. If nobody has a question, I actually wanted to ask you something. So I remember in some of our prior conversations, you said that you were using some sorts of LLMs to engage in grading.
Oh yes, so we are looking at that and trying as part of my course this year, we did do when they were at the first draft stage, um, we gave them quite specific feedback using large language models around those areas that I talked about previously, with that where the students were struggling on, which is around how to structure an argument or how to cite correctly. And we then gave them a feedback to utilize before their final submission.
So can you share like what were the rubrics that you created, or how you create the rubrics to use LLM to create them?
Yeah, I was hoping to share with Rick here, but what we did was I had the large I had a rubric previously from my course, and then what I did was I simplified it, and then I fed that into the large language model, and then utilized that to look at the first draft the students produced to give quite detailed feedback on top of feedback that I would normally give. So the students got quite a very detailed breakdown of what the issues were with their writing. And hopefully, the plan was this would give them a lot of confidence and encouragement to take on board this feedback onto the next draft.
Great, right.
And we tried to do this as a step by step iteration. So and we did find that the final product um, was much better than the previous years. Whether there is an element of grade inflation because they're utilizing a large language model, but as you can see from the graph that I showcased earlier, that the results have been going up slowly every year since the introduction of the large language model.
So how did you communicate this to your students that you're going to be using some sort of AI for grading?
So what we did was in the beginning of the course, we made it perfectly clear that part of the whole course would be run using large language models. So we would be encouraging them and teaching them, basic prompt engineering to help them produce a mini literature review. And at the same time, they would be getting uh, incremental feedback from the large language model because it was the first time that I'd introduced it. I ensured that the human factor was always there, that the students were getting feedback from me. And I also asked one of my colleagues to give feedback and check some of the feedback that the large language model was produced. So this year the students were getting um, you know, different levels of feedback from their introduction, how to improve it, and the feedback that we got at the end, that the students found this very useful.
So in terms of the platform that you used, did you find that any one platform seems to provide with a better or more refined feedback as compared to one over the other?
So because this year it wasn't automated grading wasn't something that I was planning to use. It was dependent on we used Gemini just because they released a model which was faster. Uh, but we're hoping, as part of a future research, that we'll be working with Rick's team that will look at this in a more structured, because there are implications of just giving students automated graded feedback. So that's something which I'll be looking into in the summer, and I'd be happy to get people's viewpoints and connect with people in this session as well.
So the university has, like, we have license, I think, with two LLMs. That is the which one do we have? I think it is Claude and no, it has Microsoft Copilot. Is one of the LLM that we have a license with. So did you use any one of them?
No, because I think what we decided that we were going to use initially when I first started in 2022, it was just ChatGPT. And then we decided to just go with Gemini and Claude AI, just because we thought just it would be interesting to see. And we didn't want all our students to just stick with one. We wanted to give them an option to use a free version, any of the new AI tools that were coming out.
Okay. Has anybody used DeepSeek? Do you know?
Not on my course, but I don't know if anyone else in the.
I don't see any more questions coming in at this point. All right, then. Thank you so much for your time, Dr. Mittal, and I appreciate everyone's participation. Bye.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Bye.